The shoe's good. Woody, he's right on top of things. Kind of seems like it. Yeah. You know what I mean? They're
More people to bring into the fold.
Well, they're in the. Well, I don't say they're in the business, but I mean.
Okay, the Southport Tricentennial Committee is now in session. It's Thursday, it's Wednesday, March 19th, and it's about what? 6:33. So the before we get to the agenda.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to acknowledge and thank Sandy Kovachin for her work and on the committee. And we'd like to wish her the best in her new job.
Motion's been made
Second.
and seconded. Any discussion? I thought that's going to be big shoes to fill with her experience, but there's others out there, I guess. Any other comments, questions? Hearing none, all in favor, Morris, aye.
Martin's eye.
First Fury. Wilkinson, I.
Harding on it.
Especially because we don't have any members doing remote. Everybody is hearing.
Is that even with the Zoom?
Mhm.
Okay. First item on the agenda is reflections of the Tricentennial celebratory events. Any updates on that? This is the first meeting we've had in a long time without a guest speaker.
The Rotary's not coming.
No.
Nope.
Okay, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which is to approve the minutes of February 13th as written.
I have some changes.
Oh, yeah, me too.
We need the motion first.
To move it to accept as written?
Yep.
Okay, sure. Move that.
And we need somebody to second it.
Seconded.
Any discussion?
Yes. Katie, line 3. Landis is Landes. Line 4, Landis is Landes. Michelle is 1L in both of those situations. Line 6, just delete also because it's used twice in the same sentence, and my grammar history says we can't do that. Line 19, Landis, Landes.
7 as well.
Oh, did I miss one? Line 7, yes, I missed one. Line 7, Landis, Landes. And line 49. The software is Bloomerang with an L. And that's it. Did I get all yours?
Mhm.
Okay.
Any
We had
more?
the same one.
Yeah.
You got more?
Nope.
Oh, okay. Everybody else okay?
Okay.
She was the one here
Favor?
last time talking
Yes.
about flowers and this and that.
Yeah.
Garden club.
Huh?
The garden club.
All in favor of the motion as amended?
Aye.
Okay, that's the minutes. So now the status of the subcommittees. Community barbecue, who's got that one?
Apparently, I do. I don't remember how I got it. My name.
No, that's perfect.
Maybe you weren't here.
I don't know to be. Sure.
You don't remember, that's perfect.
Yeah. I don't have any updates at this point.
And, okay. Okay, and that's because, there hasn't been any real work done to it.
Correct.
Okay,
I would like to help.
we're gonna double back on that item.
Can we just pause to have that conversation about subcommittees?
I'm just trying to, because I think there's a similar discussions throughout the next 4 items. If you want to go with that now, okay.
Yeah. Oh, you want me to just mention how it was resolved? So
Oh, sure.
that's, okay.
Yeah.
So, we had some concerns. Sorry, to bring you we had some concerns about creating subcommittees because it was going to complicate the issue with having people abide by open meeting law, having to be sworn in, do the ethics training, provide minutes, et cetera, et cetera. So you're going to have a real issue of decreasing on your volunteerism, in my opinion. So I worked with Vanessa last week to try to come up with a solution. And we came upon a suggestion that we put before Jake Tellerman, who amazingly got back to her almost immediately. I think it was within 20 minutes, which is essentially that we are not going to do official subcommittees. So no one else has to report to the select board. That any group, like your parade group, are all volunteers. It's a volunteer group. And the two of you as the liaison to this group are the official parties that make the decision and report back to us. So the group can do all the work, which is great. Same with my house tour committee, your cemetery group. Nobody has to be official, signed in, sworn in, whatever.
So we're gonna call them the
Volunteer group.
No subcommittee.
Yeah. Don't use the word subcommittee, just the volunteer, house tour volunteer group.
So to clarify, one member of the Tricentennial Board will be a liaison to every committee.
That is the way that I understood it from town council. That, you know what, I'm just gonna pull up the email.
I got it right here, I'll read it. That's okay.
Yep.
This is from Vanessa. Jay, the committee wants to know if you have one member of the Tricentennial Ad Hoc Committee working on a project like a house tour or a parade with a group of volunteers that are not on the committee, is that okay? We are struggling with getting volunteers to serve on potential subcommittees, so have not formed any issue. This representative from the committee will report back monthly on the activities and planning that the volunteers have accomplished. Then she says they meet on tonight. So Talman, so essentially it's Jenny, if you're the community barbecue person, and I'm the parade person, and you're the fundraising person, then the working group, volunteer group, you work with them, but you, according to Jay, says, I am fine with that, provided that it doesn't involve unilateral decision-making by the sole committee member. And we had no intention of working that way anyway.
Absolutely not.
So
No.
we're all set, and we have.
And what's better, even more importantly, was the second part of the question that she asked, which was, as long as it is, for example, if I'm working with a house tour volunteer group, but I am part of the Tricentennial, can I use the town Zoom space, and can I use potentially a town meeting room? And that was also okay. So in my opinion, it's the perfect solution to what could have been a big hiccup to getting volunteers.
Disaster,
Yeah.
almost.
And I also just want to say, I don't think a lot of people understand how many volunteers are needed to put on
Right.
events of this magnitude.
Yeah.
And I mean,
It was gonna
Just
be
an
a big, it was gonna
example.
be a big obstacle,
yeah,
in my opinion.
so this is really good news. I did, I've done galas for nonprofits before, and I've had 30 to 50 people, as volunteers. And that's just one event.
Yeah.
So,
So we're not gonna call them subcommittees,
nope.
we're gonna call them volunteer groups. And it's full steam ahead.
Okay.
So back to the community barbecue. Now that you know that you're assigned to that.
Yep. I'd like to recruit
What-
Michelle, who just.
What can we do to help you, move forward?
So. I'm fine with it, especially having another committee member help me. I'm even thinking that might be a combination community barbecue music festival. In one, I think our participation will be very high if we can coordinate those two events. So I would kind of like to slash community barbecue with music festival.
Does music fest, what does that mean? Does music festival mean like getting the bands from schools
It can
and
mean a lot of things.
individual like performers, talent kind of contests?
Well, I wouldn't say a contest, but
But talent performers,
yeah,
like local
and we want
versus,
local.
versus like hiring a band.
Exactly.
Okay.
So there's a lot of people in Southborough
Very
who are
talented.
members of
Very,
bands,
very talented.
very talented. We have performing groups. So I just think it would definitely be well attended if we,
Like kind of a South by Southwest. They each have their own time slot.
yes, it can be really fun. And I also think that will be easier to recruit volunteers.
Oh, yeah.
Because
You can get the young people.
Yeah.
and the young people, is the heat on room?
And it's really warm. May I ask when did we slot this?
So I was
Barbecue?
looking for my calendar and I see that Dawn has it here.
Okay, so I know.
Well,
Yeah,
it
it is
says
up high.
September.
Oh, that's the lights.
Which as a potential month for this.
So may I make a suggestion?
Let's,
Since it's September, can we make it like a
Fall
combined
festival,
Oktoberfest, Music Fest,
love it.
just to have everything there together? I mean, I think that would pique some people's interest if you had some different beers, but then I guess the one thing that I would worry about is it going to put out the younger, the underage people, so I guess maybe that's not a good idea.
I mean, I know that we have to get into all the requirements for, and ADA and all that. I do remember, I don't know if any of you remember this, but one summer, Chestnut Hill Farm had a beer truck, a beer festival,
Yeah.
and it was unbelievable. Picnic tables, successful.
Select won't approve it anymore.
Oh, they won't.
So we had
For
the Rotary,
300 maybe?
For a special
For
event,
special.
but
the Rotary Club had an Oktoberfest on St. Mark's lawn a few years ago. That was not well attended. I don't think that they got the message out, but it was fun. I know young kids.
Barrel going front of the
holding.
Yeah, I think that, again,
Oh,
combining the music with
Never mind.
barbecue, that fall festival, whatever,
Mhm. I guess you could just call it.
that I think it's. Is everybody liking that month? Because it can be a beautiful month and people are back.
I think,
September,
yeah. I think
It-
that
it
is
can be
a
really-
great month.
I mean, because. You've got Heritage Day in October. And we're gonna probably try to. Do something around that. I love the idea.
Let's hold off on that for a second. These are
No,
actually,
but she's saying September instead of October, because we want to keep like adding to our calendar, right?
Yeah, I
yes, but
see it says,
I want to get through this before, we can go back, but, well. Heritage Day in 2027 is Yom Kippur. So, and I spoke with Travis today about that, he was on, and who would be, because it's 3 heritage days away. So, it's, chances are that Heritage Day will not be on this. That kind of, sends,
You mentioned.
that's
Wait,
interesting.
Wait, I don't think they've ever moved it in past.
I
I
think,
was told that they did.
I think they did once.
Yeah.
I don't remember, but I think it was, even my wife says.
So, well, I've talked to Vanessa about it and
10, 20
Travis. It's pretty much in Travis's court as to whether or not Heritage Day happens on that day. And if not, then it opens the whole thing up to when should we do? And then it also, and we'll get to that one when we get to the parade thing. So, okay. So music festival and community barbecue. And so that would be a warm weather event. But we still could have I guess the word would be music concert indoors winter.
Yeah, that's a good winter thing.
Yeah. So what's the next step on the music festival and community barbecue?
I think putting together a subcommittee.
Volunteer.
Oh, but.
Yeah, well, I can be a subcommittee, right? I think that that's a great idea.
That is.
That would be fun.
awesome. Okay,
I can rope.
So you walk up to somebody and say, would you like to be on the volunteer list, volunteer group for a music festival and community barbecue? And the person says, in 2027, person says, well, when is, that may be the first question, but it also may be further down the line, which is, oh, what's that? And the what's that is something that could be worked on now to see how other towns might have done. That's just,
so we need the who, what, where, when.
yeah.
We need to solicit help.
Well, it should maybe also be defined as to what it's going to be.
But I also think that part of putting together the volunteer group is getting ideas and input
Absolutely.
from those members who may say, oh, we think the best weekend for that is this.
That's the point.
Yep. And then,
And I think that I agree with Jenny. The reason that you're getting volunteer input and getting them excited about being intimately involved in coordinating it is so that they can help make these decisions.
Yeah, exactly.
and
So I don't
we
think
But you
can't
have
make
to,
those
you have to have
decisions,
some type of ability to describe what the it is.
That's the elevator pitch.
I mean, I think that this one is
I think
self-explanatory.
it is. Yeah.
Honestly, I think that a music barbecue fest,
Okay.
You probably gotta, just throwing this out there.
Yep.
Don't yell at me.
no, I'm not.
I
gonna
mean, you probably gotta, like spell out what
What it entails.
what do you consider music? People singing or bands or just a guy playing a guitar. I don't know.
You
I'm
can
just-
sign up and to be,
Do whatever you want. I mean, I don't know. Sing, dance.
And that's the
guitar.
work
I
of,
mean,
of the volunteer group,
Volunteer.
You got it.
Okay.
is to what you're saying, Jim.
Mhm.
Well,
Yeah. If everybody says we just want a guy with a guitar, then we'll go.
play a guitar, sing a song at the same time, or somebody wants to.
It's
Yeah,
more of a
band.
festival. Don't you remember
Yeah,
the Sound of
yeah.
Music? Right?
Or two-piece band, four-piece band. I mean, like I say, I don't, what you consider
I think what was
music.
we talked about earlier, is, and almost like Woodstock, where they had different groups come on at different times.
Yeah, show your self-mortality.
Okay. All right, so have we beaten that one down pretty good? The drone show, we left that with
Andrew.
Andrew, and we haven't heard any more about it, any of us. Next one was the historic events.
Me.
That's Michelle. Okay.
So, I actually have one volunteer and I emailed her last week to see what date was good for her. And she hasn't responded, so I can just ping her again. And I also, invited Sally Waters to join us too, because she's going to be instrumental in helping us choose the characters for the reenactment. But I think that, so we're gonna have our subgroup.
Volunteer group.
We'll get it by the
We'll
end
get
of the
it,
night.
In early April.
Great.
And I think that we really do need to try to recruit some more volunteers, so. I don't know. Did we get permission? To go to the pancake breakfast?
Not yet,
Not
but
yet.
we're working on it.
Okay.
But we,
It's work-
speaking of that, we got permission to give a report to the town meeting. Sabino includes,
I think that,
and it gave us our choice, first town meeting, which is a trial,
mhm,
and then the second one, which is a, well, second one is the vote to
The second one's gonna be more contentious. I say go for the first.
Is that for item 7?
yes,
So,
Oh, April 7th.
I mean, we don't have to.
I don't think
it's
we
an
have enough to
opportunity.
present.
Well, it's an opportunity, just,
We could also hold off until the fall town meeting.
right, but we could also get,
just sort of like a preliminary, sort of.
I mean, I think we should, it might,
Accomplished.
well, I think it might be an opportunity to say we're really.
We could do a push for the brick sales.
And volunteers.
Bricks and volunteers.
I mean, you've got a captive audience there and it's a positive, it's a celebration, not a political,
Mhm.
We could do a push for the brick sales and for volunteers. That's
Yeah.
true.
and also to inform.
Mhm.
There's still people that get the dump, they look at you, you're glazed over, they don't know when it is, or if it,
yeah, that comes under conversation about volunteers too.
Okay, Michelle, were you done with historic events?
Yes,
House tour, who's got that one?
Me. So I have some additional volunteers, but frankly, I got very hung up on this subcommittee thing. And turning off volunteers, which is why I put that on a pause to try to get this resolved. So I'm very happy with the results, and I feel that now it's smooth sailing to move forward and start a recruitment meeting.
Good. Good. Any more? Move on to the parade.
It's you.
So we had our first volunteer group meeting. So
Exciting.
in a public place, which is the library. And by the way, Ryan was one very gracious host. So everyone showed up. We have a total of 5, right, Jim? You and me, Woody, Kevin, Connor,
And Elizabeth.
and Elizabeth. So we have six people working on the parade. And one of the results of the meeting last night was that there was a discussion about having the parade be a standalone event or having it piggyback on some other town. And the needle is kind of pointing toward Heritage. To Monday.
And Heritage Day be on Sunday,
What's that?
and Heritage Day be on Sunday.
Let me work my way to
Okay.
it. Yeah. So then Elizabeth looked it up and found out that it's a Jewish holiday. Which I then shared with Travis and Vanessa today. So that's being worked as to when that might be. So but in the discussion, the volunteer group felt that it was the best or better of the ideas of a standalone event on a standalone date versus piggybacking on an already popular thing. That the whole group of us lean toward piggybacking on Heritage Day.
I think that's a great idea.
And there's some efficiencies there too, because very there's already gonna be extra costs that day. There's all the coordination, with DPW and all the fire, it's would still will be an additional day for them to do it. So that's kind of the direction that we left it last night. To try to piggyback. Talked a little bit about summer nights, but not everybody is back, and it's a Saturday. I'm not sure if this it was pretty well received that we would look to piggyback on
I think that's a great
on
idea.
Heritage Day.
I think that's a terrific idea because, I mean, first of all, you have a little parade. I mean, this will really sensationalize that parade and
Super
really
size,
make it
yeah.
a parade. Make it a big festivity. I think that it's a great idea because you already have the crowd coming for Heritage Day. And I feel that summers are really difficult because people go away on the weekend.
It was actually Travis was preference also,
Mhm.
is for us to piggyback on that.
Plus, I thought for summer nights, we were possibly gonna try the drone show, so that would,
Yeah. So, and now back to what you said, Patty. The Westboro Parade was on a Sunday. In September, September 10th. And it was very successful. So having it on a Sunday, unless there's some kind of other religious or cultural or ethnic thing.
Well, it'd have to be done by sunset.
Right, which, I mean, if the parade's not done by sunset, pull it all night. So, it may be that's Sunday of Columbus Day weekend. So what we did, the main task that I wanted to accomplish last night was to zero in on the day to have the parade. And as it turns out, if it wasn't for the conflict, would be there. But we moved on, and what we did was we had a list of several questions that I handed out to the group. And we took out that old list of the towns that had recently had the 300, or they're going to have the 300. And people picked from that list towns that they would go back and contact and ask the questions that Jimmy just took out.
Do you want
The
this?
the first question is,
Well, they could
did your town have a parade? And so on.
just, it's like a question. Thing up.
And I reminded them of the frustration that we all had when we went out and contacted these other towns, and sometimes they were non-responsive, sometimes they didn't have any idea what we were talking about. Sometimes it was a runaround. But for some towns, we actually hit the jackpot and talked to some people. They gave us tons of information. So our next meeting of the volunteer group is scheduled for April 28th, I think, Jim, right?
Yes,
That gives everybody,
we don't know where yet, but
a month to
fall.
ring up these people and gather some information relative to those questions. And that'll help us form our plan.
can I ask you a question? This is great. Did you,
How do you get it? That's the Westbrook one.
That's all the stuff
this
I
is
did.
Westboro?
Yeah.
Because I also,
Except for
when I
This
did,
sheet, that's ours.
when I did my research on the towns that we did way in the beginning, I have the entire parade of Littleton, from every float, every participant, and the order and everything. So it is something that we had, but I can still.
It's in the, it should be in the document on the share folder.
So
I'll just get it to you.
Yeah, Jimmy, do you remember who had Littleton?
She did, that's what she said.
No, in our
Last night.
parade, we've already assigned it.
No, I don't.
Somebody was assigned.
You were jotting it down. I was.
Believe it or not, their website is still up and all the information is literally downloadable.
Beautiful.
So,
Woody was he was going to Walpole today. He was gonna check in Walpole.
Methuen also, yeah.
Yeah, another guy. Provincetown and someplace. So.
here, I have the whole
Well,
thing.
I'd have to. I think the list.
This is, I can give you
This is,
just.
but I didn't write it.
I'll ask you.
Somebody's doing Hopkinton, a little thing, person, Brookfield,
The person they did assign to it.
Okay,
Easton was doing, Easton.
Would you mind sharing that with everybody?
Jenny? Not at all.
Thank you.
So
I'm aware.
the way it was left. All 6 of us. In some way would be contacting towns. And asking those questions, knowing that some of these questions may lead to. A dead end or may lead to new information that we didn't think of. And then we're gonna get back together at the end of April and glean from those phone calls and agents. Stuff that will help us with the parade together. But the stuff that you guys got from Westbrook is really template, excellent template.
she gave us a lot of stuff.
And Travis did the parade, I thought he said no. And he contacted them yesterday. They promised to send all that stuff to him also. But he's he's gonna be a big player. Helping us with the parade.
Thanks.
You know.
I have a question, if this is an okay time.
Sure.
So with these volunteer groups, you said that we have access to town buildings. Where is that schedule kept? So if we wanted to organize something. Is there like a schedule of?
Just that master schedule for like this rooms, this.
It's different. So here it would be Alicia or Cindy, the admins here. At the hearing room, it's Melanie and I. Senior center is Peg. But if you want to filter that through us.
There's some actual like police officer that works here, because everybody in the front seems to be like kicking it around, like I didn't just ask for help.
You need help?
Does anybody need help?
There should be. some-
Yeah, I was sitting there laughing.
There's gotta be something.
Nothing seriously wrong, but I have a disability, I've been walking from the community room, and I just got out of the hospital. Asked this girl for help, and she said they're laughing with her friends in there about an apartment in Marlboro in a truck. Can't physically walk there anymore. Ever heard?
Oh, you're wanting to talk to
No,
somebody?
I just asked all of them, they're sitting there giggling like I'm laughing about it. So yeah, I would like some help.
Okay, I just
So
saw
the
someone
phone, I
come out.
called my own mother, but none of them offered me, oh, do you want some water? That's a long walk. Nothing. I'm sitting there giggling and all. I was looking for help, not kids laughing in an office where I just asked them. Somebody just walked out.
Did you put this one in place?
She was walking down on 85 by the Mass Pike when I came up. I don't know, then she walked in over 2 cars in front of me. She stopped, she was in the middle of the road. So I don't know what.
Oh, you want this one?
We wanted that open because
Yeah.
it's so hot. Otherwise, because we gotta pay that extra fuel cost to keep this room at 80.
So, Katie,
Alright,
We
it's
have-
not fucking disrespectful and acting kind of tough, and I have issues like PTSD.
We're
with my-
here on private meetings.
so you mentioned all those facilities except the library. Is it just coordinating with Ryan?
Yeah, if you want to filter that through like Vanessa, Melanie or I, like especially the hearing room, Melanie and I can handle that. But we can reach out and find out pretty quickly.
Okay, so just a telephone call.
Or an email.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if the group's not too big, you guys can always use my office.
Okay.
It's always available.
If my house is clean, we can do that.
Or like, you know, they were at the library last night.
Yeah.
So.
And Vanessa arranged that for us, but Ryan told us last night, anytime.
Do you meet in the first room when you walk in?
It's in the basement,
Oh, in the basement?
yeah,
Oh, the meeting room in the basement?
yeah,
I think we met there one time. Yeah, this meeting.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it was
Thank
fine for us, as actually the group preferred that, because it's kind of easy parking, right in the middle of town, and
Mhm. Yeah.
a little bit off the beaten path, so we can speak freely.
It's not loud. maybe.
So I'm really pumped up about the group that we have. I didn't have to pull teeth or anything. They jumped all over it. And
That's awesome.
and I'm looking forward to doing this.
Mhm.
And I also asked them, like we all do, if you have any friends or neighbors that you think might want to, join the volunteer group, let us know.
Okay.
So I think we're off to a really excellent start. And looking at the Westboro stuff, they had 133 entrants in the parade. And their parade was in September, early September. And the minutes of one of their meetings from June, they had like 22 that had signed contract.
You don't want to put out there that people did it so much at the last minute.
No, that's why I feel good that we got a good jump on this and have a good approach at success.
So how long was the Westboro parade with all those entrants? I'm just curious.
Huge.
So huge. Wasn't it like hours?
It was 2 miles plus long, but they had to stage it from 3 different areas to come into it because they had so many people. They had Clydesdale horses.
Wow.
And they destaged at the Hastings School.
Mhm.
But one of the notes that they had in their meeting was that after the parade went past the Rotary, Westboro Center, that the number of people watching the parade between that, the Rotary and the Hastings School, which isn't that far.
Yeah.
Wasn't that many. Which may be the case here if we,
They have a big court.
we're thinking of course, starting down at Newton Street, which that neighborhood has tons of staging. Up ways or even at medical center. And then ending at Mary.
Yeah.
Because there's not enough room at Town Common and Town Hall to teach staging. Bands and
Do we think we can make that turn at Parkerville?
that's one of the questions here about the hill. No, Travis told us the question.
Oh.
Well, his experience.
Well, I mean, a fire truck has to be able to get down there, right?
Yeah,
So.
okay, so enough on the parade.
It's awesome.
Patty, you want to talk about what we talked about relative to the Westboro store, the merchandise store?
Oh, yes.
This wasn't part of the meeting, but
No.
she and I spoke before.
Okay, let me pull it up because I had the numbers.
I
Right?
went to the store. I actually went to the store.
What is this?
So they had a storefront and what's the mall? Staples Mall?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it must have been an empty office.
Somebody donated it for a year.
Yeah,
They raised a ton of money. Was it like 40 grand? And then they also did consignment sales where they raised like another 20 grand. Like they sold merch.
local merchandise, local merchants. Like people who sell soap or make soap or make
Uh-huh.
candles
Okay.
or.
So actually, I don't know. So did those people donate the stuff to the store to sell?
That I don't know. I don't know if they donated or they donated proceeds, a
Mhm.
portion of the
Mhm.
proceeds. But I went in there and it was kind of cool because it was all people from Westboro selling, the people sold art. People sold, it was interesting enough that they displayed.
So, all right, so I have from my notes of meeting with them. The store brought in $42,600. Consignment income was 26,000. So maybe that was the total and they got 26,000 out of it? No, I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
That's.
Space was donated. It was open for a year. They had a grand opening celebration. Julia's Liquors had wine specialists. And they stuffed it with volunteers. So we were just trying to think if we could do something similar, at least, I don't know, like the last, opening sometime in the spring of 2027 through the end, which I think we were planning the gala is going to be like the final. If there was a facility or something that we could do something. I mean, there's a couple of little shops in town. Maybe we could work something with them. Donnie,
I thought we could get a room at the senior center,
there might be a little more because then we'd have to,
but that doesn't attract everybody. It attracts-
yeah,
I also, Southborough has a hard time,
for the downtown.
no, with any kind of storefront. There's just not enough
Yeah,
people, rooftops, in this town, but that doesn't mean
Is
it's
that
not
one
a
next
great
to you
idea.
still vacant?
No.
No.
Um,
But just something to like,
Yeah, or something
Put
that
on
we
the
haven't
burner.
talked about.
even if it was only open, 2 days a week.
right, weekend,
One day, because you need a volunteer. to be at
Yeah.
the store.
yeah.
I mean, there's
That's a
some
big
empty,
commitment.
empty spots in town, Tomaso's. It's bigger than we need. But maybe we could get a local,
Office space.
Well,
It's
but
just how
then
do you
it's
get
like on
people in
Route
there?
9 and that's such a crap.
What about 11
location.
Main Street?
I was
Is there
also
anything
kind of
there?
wondering if we could work with like, apothecary artists or something to have a little corner. Maybe,
where are they located now?
like, I think they're in the basement, right? Of
Oh, 11 Main.
Yeah, I don't know.
How do you
It
get-
just-
How do you get bodies in?
we're just throwing it out there to like be able to have
Plus Westbrook got a
merchandise.
We have a
lot
lot
of
of
business,
right.
and this and that.
You know who might, I just got somebody on the fundraising committee who has a lot of traffic, who maybe could sell things for us, Theracopia,
Oh,
because you could actually put things in their space,
mhm.
and I bet they would do that for us. She just offered to be on the committee,
Okay.
so
All right, well, it's something to think about. Maybe
Yeah.
individually, we should try to think of some
brainstorm
concepts,
and cover it all day.
brainstorm and
Mhm.
talk to people
Yeah.
to just have an option to maybe create some way to get some kind of
Okay.
retail sales for merch,
Mhm.
t-shirts, mugs,
Yeah, the t-shirts are really cute. Hats,
hats, baseball hats, yeah.
I'll reach out to
mugs, like you said, would be good.
Yeah.
So we'll move on to, we're done,
Mhm.
move on to the brick fundraiser. We kind of did that a little bit before the,
Just sold a brick tonight.
Just one.
what's the total? Do we have that
I
yet?
don't, I can't tell you off the top of my head.
There were quite a few people from the transfer station that said that they were going to order at least one and took forms. So I don't know how serious that is, but I'm actually gonna go back this Saturday if it's a good day, just for a couple of hours. And I'm gonna try to do that as often as I can, just to get it out
Kathy
there.
Cook volunteered to help you. Okay, then Kathy.
Good. I mean, I think that it's not a lot of work. It's just a couple of hours and you get in front of people.
You also get in front of that compactor.
Yeah.
Can't
There's
hear
no
yourself
bee-
think.
We had,
No bees yet.
we had, there was a lot of interest, a lot of
Yes.
people to
Lot of
talk
traffic,
to.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think
It
if
was
we
good.
just keep on it and just I'll let it Wayne that,
And each person who buys a brick, hopefully will tell somebody else to go, if they can buy a brick.
so, I don't know if you can get the businesses in town. How to target them to try to get them to purchase a brick too.
Don't we already have one business that's purchased the brick?
Yes.
The real estate.
I've had 2 bricks.
Yeah. Move on.
I also, speaking about the bricks, I had an idea about doing a contest, not a contest, but a social media promotion where you get people to like your page and it's like a contest that they can win, and Therapia would provide 3 $100 gift cards or 3 massages, 1-hour massages. And in kind, they would like to have a brick. So it would be, so it would be something that could get us a lot of attention on social media if we ran something like that.
Where are they located?
Therapia is on Crystal Pond.
That's what I thought. They were a thing. Back.
Yeah, but this would be sort of a a Facebook and Instagram promotion. Yeah, they were.
Where are they now, you said, Jean?
Crystal Pond.
Oh.
Right as you go in the first building on the right after the entrance to the apartments.
No, I don't. I don't have any reason.
It's an office building now.
Oh, yeah, all right.
Move on to fundraising.
So, well, we're really excited because we got a donation from the Southborough Community Fund for boomerang software. That is going to make the fundraising efforts very high tech. And we're very fortunate because Patty has experience with the software. And that's going to make a huge difference. So our outreach is going to be a lot better and different because of the implementation of the software.
I believe you.
So that's pretty much
Well,
very focused. With the fundraising volunteer group has had a little bit of challenges in with meetings between illnesses and stuff. But we are really excited about this software. And I think one of the things Patty and I talked about is having getting a volunteer who could assist us or assist Patty with the data entry.
Is that something that a high school or college kid could do?
We talked about that.
I have time.
She's gonna help me. We just have to
It's awesome.
yeah, I mean, it's just like the original setup and mapping it and then just going in and making sure everything is mapped.
Do you want to say anything else about the software?
No, just to really thank the Southborough Community Fund for their contribution, which is $10,000. So they are paying more than the cost of this software each year for 3 years.
It's a subscription.
It's a subscription base and it's just over $2,000, it's like $2,150 a year. And they also use it. So they understand, which was very convenient, because it wasn't much of a hard sell.
I knew that.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
well, the organization they work under, Mr. West something.
Yes,
They
yes.
are the ones that use,
Oh,
that woman
wow.
uses Bloomerang. So it wasn't a terribly hard sell, which was great. And they actually came back, because we were asking them for 1 year thinking, well, then we'll figure it out. And they came back and said, let's
Commit to 3 years.
commit to 3 years. Let's do 4,000 the first year just to make sure you have enough to cover it all. So they were more than generous. Yes, and I think it will, the startup is a little much because we're starting from zero. But we're starting from scratch, but I think once everything gets in place, it's going to make a lot of things easier. The newsletter is a data donor management system, but we can track sponsors, we can segregate the emails to specific user groups, donors, brick buyers. You can tie it into social media. There's a lot that we can do with it. So I think it'll, in the long run, I think it'll be a big addition to what we need to do, and it will streamline a number of processes.
Is it so new that the other towns, like let's say Westboro, just on.
No, no, I don't mean that the software is new. Bloomerang is not new. What I mean is that we're not starting with a database already in place. I mean, we have the database that Michelle and I have worked on for the brick donors. Plus, we have donors that have come in through the online purchase, and then we have the original mailing list that we started that is in MailChimp. So what I mean is that we are setting our organization up from scratch of what we want, the information that we want to track from these people and groups, because we want to track who bought bricks, whether they bought mini bricks. You know, at some point we're going to want to track if they buy t-shirts, if they donate on their own, if they have sponsorships, what level of sponsorship, their emails, so that we can send them newsletters, their home addresses and stuff, so we can send them thank you letters. So it's a matter of setting up the underlying, what is the word, the structure, and then we're going to map in all the data that we have to fit those fields.
Do you know of any other towns that have done it that way?
I never specifically asked people that question.
Yeah. In the absence of them volunteering at it, you know, as a real excellent tool. I think that they may have said it. That's why I say is it relative.
Bloomerang is used by, like, you know, I don't know, 1 million nonprofits around the world. It's not, I mean, I don't know whether a specific tricentennial, you know, 250th celebration has chosen to go that route. I you know, when I talked to the fundraising group, and, you know, we had a pretty high-tech savvy guy there that was, or started the question originally is, why don't we have something like this to streamline? It kind of all fell in place. So I have really no idea whether other towns have done this. I know a lot of nonprofit organizations use this software, and I personally think it's going to help streamline it and make certain things easier and certainly more trackable. It will be much easier for, like, year-end tax letters. Having had to put all that data together for Kathy Cook to then send out those letters, I'm going to tell you, it's going to be easier next year.
So like that. Okay,
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
that sounds good.
It's just a matter of, like, having the time to get it to the starting point. Yeah, that's all.
Anytime.
We all done with fundraising? On the agenda? And then the newsletter. Oh, I think we're waiting for something, right?
Well, we were waiting for the software,
Okay.
and now a template can be made, and then we just have to feed the content into the template. For
Yep.
example, I would say, Patty, we can announce that sponsorships levels for Tricentennial contributions have been announced and have to go out in the newsletter, that kind of thing.
So after our last meeting, Michelle and Sandy both gave me a little blurb. And, you know, frankly, outline I had for the first newsletter was, push the brick sales, push the group sales for the bricks. And then do a synopsis, like paragraph of any committee or volunteer group that we know of. So you would give me a little paragraph on the parade, and then we would have a call to action saying, anyone interested in volunteering to help this great thing? Please email, dmorris@southboroughma.com. So all of those would have a call to action on them, and then there would be an overall call to action for volunteers.
Other matters properly before the committee. Patty and I talked again last night, and I think you said that it might be benefit to re-meet with the Westboro people.
No, that's not exactly what I said. What I said is that I would be happy to put you in touch if you felt you needed to after going through all the stuff. And I think that Roberta was, she was, sounded like she was very generous with her time, and she was willing to do that. But
You've been there and done.
right, and I mean, she's not going to give you any additional paperwork. So I think you maybe have to get a little further along in the process and have specific questions of how did you manage this particular problem ABC,
Okay.
and then I'm sure she could help you with it.
Okay.
And I'm happy to, do an email to introduce the two of you. But I don't think that you necessarily need to just at this moment schedule her time. I mean, she had said she would come here and talk to all of us, but I think it's more appropriate
If we
to,
take a deep dive first.
yeah, I think it's more appropriate for the parade committee to get a little
Detail.
whatever, weight under your belt or whatever, to
Okay.
have questions to ask her,
Okay.
in my
So that's about it. I think
Do we do other matters properly before the book committee?
I just did one of them.
I'd like to bring up another.
Sure.
About the committee.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd like to propose that we ask the select board to expand this committee. We're trying to do at least 12 events. And also coordinate with other organizations to, supersize their events or whatever. I don't think that we have enough help. And if the way I'm totally in agreement with what town council said regarding our volunteer groups. I'm great with that idea, but he wants a representative from this committee, the way I understand it, a representative from this committee to be the liaison for each one of those volunteer groups, which at this moment would mean that each one of us would have to do 2 and some would have to do 3. I really think that we need to talk to the select board about expanding this committee. I know if we go to 8, we have an issue with, a 4-4 vote. I don't expect that would actually be a problem. If we go to 8, we don't have to change our quorum. If we go to 9, the quorum changes to 5. But I really, in my opinion, I think it's something that needs to be done to get additional proactive people on this committee.
Shrewsbury has it.
I didn't even know that, but
Yeah, no, I mean, we both met and talked about volunteers and just how many.
we have a lot of work to do in the next 2 years. There is a lot. And I looked back over the last, how long have we been doing this?
Year and a half.
A year and a half. I don't think we've got enough accomplished, frankly. We need to move at a faster pace.
True.
And I think in order to do that, we need more people that are committed to
Action
the
items.
all event and being proactive to get events planned.
So The benefit of that would be we'd have more help. The downside of that would be nothing.
Thank you. Yeah,
I am happy to send a note to Kathy and Andrew and ask them to put it on the next select board meeting.
do we vote on this?
Right, but, would they look at your email as a member and not the chair?
Then you can send it. I don't really care as long as it gets done.
So what
if
is
you-
the
if you draft
downside?
If you do the.
I
if you
can
do
copy
the
you
email,
into the email. How about that?
That's fine.
All right, I'll copy you into.
And then if I agree with what's being said, which is basically just to add two people, then I would piggyback on that with an email to those six people.
I mean, am I even you willing to leave that open to discussion for them of, because it would change the forum, but we need more active, proactive, warm bodies. In my opinion.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement.
Yes.
Two more people would be great.
Two, so go for two, even though that's gonna increase the forum.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so I will draft an email tomorrow to Andrew and Kathy and copy you and you both in as chair and vice chair. Asking them to do that and put it on their next agenda.
Fantastic.
Okay. That's good. Thank you.
Any other matters?
Oh, I talked to Patty earlier. I think one of the things that I have had experience on is working for nonprofits in fundraising. And I worked for a performing arts organization that was trying to build a theater and raise money, millions of dollars. And we went from one event to another, to another, to another. And the amount of volunteers was exponential that we had in every event. And so volunteering is one thing, but also we worked daily on these events, like from 8 to 6 at night, I worked nothing. And I just feel like a little bit of a disconnect because we only go month to month. So I am committed to adding to my blocking out my calendar 2 or 3 days a week from like 3:30 to 5 or something. I know we can't all get together because we can't have a forum. But what we could do is have some kind of calendar or whatever. That
Some sort of what?
it's a software, it's like called Calendar for people.
You can schedule within each other.
And just whether it's I open up my office or whatever, but just I think we need to build momentum.
Yeah, or
I
else we
agree.
need to have. Yeah, I don't know, assignments or meet more often or something.
I
It's
think
not,
this is
it's not
coming,
happening.
yeah, faster
enough.
than we think, and sometimes I get overwhelmed because we're planning a lot of huge events. And I know what it takes to pull off one big event. And so I definitely am willing to commit a couple of hours, 2 to 3 days a week. And maybe we could come up with some way where we can just meet at the same place or drop
Again,
in.
it can't be everybody, but we could have a specific topic for meetings so that the people that are applicable for that topic take part, because then it doesn't always have to be you, but yeah.
But this
Like-
is all under fundraising?
No, she's talking about this and the events that we need to have in place in a year. All these events need to be in place within a year, and we are nowhere near that.
Michelle Landis, when she talked to us, she is going to be the president of the garden club next year, not this year. And they already have next year's events all planned out. So I'm like a little bit freaked out that we don't even have a calendar of events yet, never mind.
I mean, even if we want to just say, for now, Ginny and I and Michelle, sounds like Michelle is interested. Can start with, one meeting a week to do a plan of recruiting volunteers,
Data input for your software.
something. Do,
Finding a social media plan,
right.
putting together a social media plan.
Of working with potential on finding grants to help. There's a lot.
Well,
We were just brainstorming this afternoon,
Sure.
and there's a lot that needs to get done.
in our January meeting, we talked about that, not to this level of importance or detail. That a year from now, which was January, that we would have the full 12 months with things.
And we are
assigned to each.
knowing it.
And that's what I reported to the select board in January. That's our goal for 2025 as a bare minimum, is to have the events plugged into each and every month as appropriate. And some of those would be further along in detail than others.
But to
Yeah.
also have the volunteer groups established for each and every event. And again, I'm not exaggerating when I say there are many events that I've worked on where there would be 30 to 50 volunteers.
Yeah.
as part of
Okay,
it.
so I'm gonna make a suggestion. So if the three of us are willing to get together next week for the 2 hours, let's first tackle town meeting. And put together a presentation because then we were also told, I believe, that we could have a table there to
Is it outside?
outside.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, but to at least distribute literature or something, but let's put together something, do an outline for a presentation for town meeting. That concentrates on 2 things, promoting the book sales, group sales, and also seeking volunteers. And get people excited about the entire year long of events.
I think that's mission critical.
Right, yeah, right, because that's in 2 weeks. So if we meet next week and put together some kind of presentation for town, does that work, Don?
Yes, yeah, it does. My discussion with the town moderator, was, I guess, based on what I had heard before I talked to him, it's not too cool on a lot of these presentations. But, when we were done, he said, yes, and, said, we may or may not have any visuals in the slides. It may just be.
I think we need slide. I think we
So
need
if we
visuals.
want to do slides, we have to bring light to it.
Yeah, and it
I mean, we know we're
doesn't-
limited to 5 minutes because that's his normal role. Is a 5-minute presentation, which that's fine, keeps things short and to the point. But
It might be the happiest presentation
Yeah,
that people see.
exactly, they're going in to talk about
That's
a
what we're talking
freaking budget that's 7.2% over. We don't want, we're
Right?
gonna have good news.
Yeah, so let's make.
So we're gonna
these,
ask for $300 more.
let's-
Fully
yeah.
tax deductible, their taxes are not.
Yeah, exactly. Here's something positive, and that's
I
how we position it.
think if we did a fun little presentation and, I mean, he'd probably stick us at the beginning before,
You have to be,
before the official
right. That's
meeting
when,
starts.
that's when you,
But if we could do a quick little fun presentation and have, recruitment flyers for volunteers. The amount of time we're gonna put into it, it could be a win-win.
Yeah, because like a lot of people have said, oh, I don't even know, what is it again?
exactly.
Okay,
So
so
we're,
let's
it's a
stick
good
5
forum.
minutes after and we'll
Alright.
plan that for next
Yeah.
week. Okay. So if you want to get back to him and tell him yes,
I already told him.
okay. we already did that. But
And
we
he
want
gave- and he gave us, he says, I'll give you a choice. You can do the first town meeting, second town meeting, and then if necessary, the third time.
I think we went the first and the third.
Well, the third is only dependent on the second.
No, I don't think so. No.
Isn't the third the override?
No. By voting at the second, you're voting for the override. The third is the other issues that they have put up in the first.
Okay, that's not the way it was explained to me, but it doesn't matter. You know, we would be before the,
I don't know. I mean, what do you guys think? Do you want the second when people are there to?
you
I think you
recommended
get
the second
more.
because it's gonna be in Algonquin with hundreds of people.
How about if we do all?
Could do that too, but I didn't talk.
Can't
to
we have the same presentation at all? We do
Can I
it once
ask,
and
where would you have more people? I would think the first meeting,
Well, I think they're,
it tapers off, I feel.
Yeah, I think it tapers off.
All right, we'll do the first.
what if we do the first? Let's plan for that. And then if we think we need the second, we go back to the house.
Sure. Yeah, I'm looking.
Okay.
Then if we get baked, we get.
Yeah.
We're not asking for
going to be there
money.
to
We're there to
Um,
offer some good news and some
excitement, generating excitement and give them some fun to look forward to.
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And we won't remind them that we're already getting all students passing.
They haven't because we haven't touched it
But yeah,
and we don't intend to touch it.
Our goal is not to have to touch it, but we're not. They don't know that yet. How fun would it be to have a town meeting where we hand them back their?
That would be fabulous. I'd
That
love
would
that.
be.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Check for them.
I need that.
That would be great.
when do we, are we all done with other matters?
Yeah.
So the next meeting, when do we want to meet again? That would be in April. And we have April vacation, but I don't think that affects us,
Yeah.
right? As far as.
Not really.
it doesn't affect me, but
So what are we doing? We're doing the third Wednesday.
after tax day,
No, we're doing the third Wednesday, which would be the 16th, the day after tax day.
the administrative professionals.
Does that work? The 16th?
I think so.
That's not one.
And if you want to send me a little blurb to the grade, the newsletter, it'd be great.
Dude,
One paragraph.
When do you anticipate sending that out?
My goal is by the end of the month, or if we call it a monthly, we'll do it right at like the first of the month.
So the first week.
Yeah, so then we just always get it out like the beginning of the month. We're just trying to create regular communication.
you good, Katie?
Yes.
Any other questions, comments? Complaints? That part of the agenda's over about the complaints. So at this point, we would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion's been made. And seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
I sent everyone the,
We're adjourned.
I sent everyone the
Yes, already got it. Thank you.